Mastermind, Strategist for Hire, written by Clouds, read by Distracted by Books. Chapter 26, Endeavor. Endeavor was hosting a press conference. He practically growled when yet another reporter had the audacity to question his property damage. Seriously? Who cared if a few buildings burned down as long as he put those villain scum where they belonged? He wouldn't even be holding this press conference, but his PR team insisted that it was important to be visible if he wanted to maintain his place as the #1 hero, especially since some idiot wannabe reporter had released his sealed property damage reports yesterday. He was going to find whatever idiot thought that was a good idea and ruin their career, but first, he had a press conference to get through. Endeavor, what do you have to say about your missing son, Shoto? Are you any closer to finding him? Endeavor grit his teeth. Of course, they were trying to bait him by reminding him that his masterpiece was still missing. There have been no leads at this time, but I assure you that I will find Shoto and bring him home. Those villains are going to regret taking my son. Well, that's rather rude, isn't it, Father? All eyes went to the speaker, and Endeavor's eyes widened as he saw his son walking up behind the mass of reporters, the villain Dobby smirking beside him. If you wanted to talk to me so badly, you could have just asked. No point in making threats if you can't follow through with them. The reporters parted to let Shoto and Dobby through, most scrambling to get out of the way of a known villain, while the braver ones shoved mics in Shoto's face. Both kinds were ignored as Shoto and Dobby continued moving toward Endeavor, staring at him steadily. Endeavor cursed. He wanted to attack Dobby, but couldn't risk harming Shoto, not to mention the impact it would have on his rating if any of these stupid reporters ended up as collateral damage. Shoto had changed since he last saw him. He'd cut his hair, for one, wearing it in some ridiculous style that was popular among the uncultured masses for some reason. Endeavor scowled. He'd have to make sure Shoto grew his hair out again so he looked dignified and set himself apart from the rabble. He also carried himself with more confidence, which Endeavor would be almost proud of if his masterpiece wasn't walking side by side with a villain without attacking him. Shoto's outfit was frankly ridiculous. It was almost as if he'd picked it out to match Dobby. But that couldn't be right. His masterpiece would never sink so low, so it was probably some horrific coincidence or something the villains had forced him into. He wore a dark red tank top and black jeans with holes in them. He'd paired the outfit with a billowing navy overcoat similar to Dobby's, except without sleeves, showing off his muscular arms. Another unfortunate choice Endeavor would have to beat out of him. Shoto felt powerful. He could hear whispers running through the crowd, wondering if he'd escaped and what he was doing with a member of the League. Out of the corner of his eye, he could see a few horrified expressions as some of the smarter reporters connected the dots. Good. Endeavor was scowling at him, most likely judging his new aesthetic and fantasizing about the best way to beat it out of him. Too bad he'd never get the chance. He could see Endeavor mentally weighing the benefits of flat-out attacking Dobby right then, but Shoto knew his father wouldn't be able to without risking his ever-important popularity rating. Endeavor was predictable, if nothing else. It was going to make him easy to kill. Shoto, I give you permission to freeze that villain. Oh, so that's how Endeavor was going to play this, huh? Just give Shoto emergency permission. Then he won't have to worry about his popularity going down, even if there was collateral damage, because what father wouldn't encourage his son to protect himself? Shoto gave his best innocently confused expression. But, Father, Why would I attack my own brother? Whispers broke out among the reporters, and Shoto glared at Endeavor. Oh, that's right. I don't think you ever told them about Tuya, did you? After all, he didn't have the perfect quirk like I did. Shoto spat. He was just another one of our mother's failures. Isn't that what you told us growing up? Hey, Dad, Dabi smiled. Did you miss me? Some of the reporters were on their phones trying to figure out if Tuya Todoroki really existed. The records would be too difficult to find. Izuga had made sure of that. Endeavor himself looked like he'd seen a ghost, which, in a way, Shoto supposed he had. It must be difficult to have the runaway son you'd written off as dead come back into your life as a villain. By the way, Father, I won't be, how did you put it? Oh, that's right, coming home anytime soon. In fact, I don't intend to come home at all. He felt a thrill at Endeavor's enraged expression. I'm not just Shoto anymore, Shoto said, tossing his arms out to his side dramatically as he stared down his father. I go by Freezer Burn now. In unison, both he and Dabi shot fire at Endeavor, who simply scowled and remained unmoved. Some of the smarter reporters started to run away, and Shoto rolled his eyes and froze them in place. Their plan relied on having a captive audience, after all. We can't have that. Dabi sent a jet of superheated flame out to the side and ignite a trail of gasoline they had set before the press conference, creating a massive wall of flame around the area. The reporters started to scream and push against each other as they realized they were boxed in. Give up this childish rebellion, Shoto. Endeavor's voice rose above the sounds of the flames. I don't know what poisonous lies this man has been telling you, but I created you to be a hero, not whatever this is. Don't ruin your future. The media had started to calm down despite the hostage situation and had their cameras trained on Shoto, waiting for his next move. He returned his father's glare. What future? My future as a hero? Or a future as your masterpiece? Endeavor's eyes widened minutely. Either way, it's no great loss. I didn't ask for either one. Shoto! Endeavor growled, but Shoto ignored him, making sure to speak loud enough that the cameras could hear him. You were the one that forced my mother into a marriage she didn't want, just to get your hands on her quirk. You were the one that isolated me from the world from the moment my quirk manifested so that others couldn't get in my way. You were the one who beat me black and blue every day of my childhood and called it training. The only sounds that could be heard were the roar of the flames and the approaching sirens. The media held their breath as they waited to see how Endeavor would respond to his accusations. Come home, Shoto. You will become a hero. Shoto sighed and shook his head. If being a hero means being like you, I'd rather be a villain. He looked up at his father. At least I'm being honest about who I really am. Enough, Shoto, Endeavor growled. I will not stand for this. Then fall. Shoto stomped down with his right foot and sent a river of ice toward the podium his father was standing behind, encasing it in solid ice. Endeavor simply kicked the block, knocking it to the floor where it shattered in an icy crash. He ran at Shoto, but had temporarily forgotten about Dabi, who came at him from behind, barbecuing his back with blue fire. Huh. Endeavor turned toward Dabi with contempt. Did you forget that never worked when you were younger, Tuya? Oh, I'm just warming up, Dobby taunted. Besides, you can't even go all out right now because of all these reporters, so you can't hurt me either. Endeavor shot a ball of flame at Dobby, who dodged to stand beside Shoto in front of the reporters, effectively using them as a shield. If we're going to fight, let's fight! Endeavor yelled. Only cowards use hostages. Only cowards beat their kids, so I guess that makes us even, Dobby yelled back. The sirens were getting closer now. They'd probably arrive in under a minute, along with at least a handful of heroes. Shoto and Dobby exchanged a look before turning around and firing into the crowd, superheating the air, but being sure to keep their attacks weak enough that the reporters would only be injured, not killed. Arriving heroes wouldn't be distracted by rescuing corpses, after all. Endeavor tackled Dobby, obviously seeing him as the bigger threat. Shoto, rolling his eyes, switched to ice. Might as well create a variety of injuries for the heroes to deal with when they arrived. Dobby and Endeavor grappled on the ground for a few moments before the fire trucks arrived and water started falling. A few hoses focused on carving pathways through the wall of flames, allowing some heroes through. They took one look at the 100 or so injured, screaming reporters and cursed. Let's take this elsewhere, yeah? Dobby smiled. You wouldn't want to get in the way of the rescue efforts, would you? He got up and ran away with Shoto on his heels, letting Endeavor chase after them. Apparently, the area of the city they were in had already been evacuated because they didn't run into anyone else. The other heroes apparently trusted that Endeavor could take care of his sons and didn't come to help. Everything was going according to the plan. Shoto caught Dobby's eye, and they headed into an evacuated office building, making it a few floors up before turning around and letting Endeavor catch up to them. Endeavor burst in through the door, rage mixing with betrayal in his eyes, which just made Shoto angrier. What right did he have to feel betrayed after what he had done to them? You're weak, boys. Endeavor advanced with flames in his hands. I thought I raised you better than this. Oh, Dad, Dobby replied. This is what you raised us for. Endeavor sent a stream of fire at Dobby, who returned it with one of his own. The enclosed space turned into an oven as the flames burned hotter and the heat was unable to escape. Shoto used his right side to cool both himself and his brother, but left Endeavor to overheat. I've indulged you for far too long. Let's finish this, Endeavor said. It's a shame to have to damage my masterpiece, but it's worth it to get you back on track. Flash fire fist, prominence, burn! Shoto created a massive dome of ice just in time to shield them from the attack, but it was vaporized almost instantly. The jet of fire ripped through the wall behind them and pushed both him and Dobby out onto the street. Shoto could dimly hear a helicopter recording the fight from above. Dobby, are you okay? Shoto crouched next to his brother, who was kneeling on the ground, and cooled the air around them. I'm fine, Shoto, he grunted, standing up. It's not like I'm not used to it. Surrender now, Endeavor ordered, jumping down to the street and walking toward them. He was breathing hard, and sweat had soaked through his costume, which was only made worse by the raging fire behind him. Shoto gave Dobby a small smile. He returned it with a grin and created a firewall around the three of them. Seems like you're looking a little worse for the wear there, huh, Dad? Dobby taunted. Isn't prominence burn one of those special moves that makes you overheat? It doesn't matter, villain. Endeavor kept advancing. This fight won't last much longer. Are you sure about that? Shoto stood up straight and frosted over his left side. I can go on for hours. Endeavor scowled and shot another fireball at Shoto, who blocked it with an ice wall. The more you use your fire, Father, the more I can use my ice. You should know that. considering that you're the one who wanted this quirk so badly. Endeavor was panting now, but stubbornly kept up his attacks, even letting loose another prominence burn, though the second was much weaker than the first had been. Shoto smiled slightly when Endeavor went to take a step, but stumbled, swaying slightly as he regained his balance. Shoto nodded at Dobby, who shot another fireball at Endeavor's back. His heat exhaustion made him too slow to dodge it, and he cried out as the flames burned him. "How do you like that, Dad?" Dobby spat. "How does it feel to burn as you're forced to overuse your quirk?" Endeavor just grunted and shot another attack. Shoto glanced up at the news helicopter circling above them. They needed to wrap this up before more backup came. "Well, Father," Shoto stared Endeavor in the eyes when his father whipped around to face him. "I'd say goodbye, but it's really more like good riddance." He slammed his right foot on the ground and sent jagged spears of ice toward his father. Endeavor's eyes widened and he tried to dodge, but between Dobby's flame wall and his own relentless attacks, he had gotten far too hot to continue to fight. A thick icicle hissed as it struck his chest, but as soon as it melted, it was replaced by another, each one penetrating deep into Endeavor's torso. Dobby extinguished his firewall and watched as Shoto's ice stopped melting immediately and instead turned red as it was coated with blood. He went to stand next to Shoto and watched their father's face as his angry expression turned to one of pain, then faded altogether as the life left his eyes. There was a long moment where everything was silent. Shoto couldn't hear the roar of fires, or the sound of the helicopter, or the approaching sirens, or even Dobby asking him if he was okay. The only thing he could think was what he had just done. Shoto had actually killed that bastard for what he'd done to their family. Suddenly, he threw his head back and laughed. As hard as he tried, he couldn't stop it as he ran out of breath and felt his cheeks start to ache as Dobby joined in. He was free. End of chapter.